Welcome to Sports Bites. With your host, Chris Joseph. Are you a sports fanatic who loves the thrill of the game and the delicious food that accompanies it?
And then they had chicken fingers, exotic chicken fingers.
Join us as we dive into the world of sports and the delectable bites that make the experience even better. Whether you're in the stadium, tailgating, or watching from the comfort of your home. Get ready to satisfy your sports cravings with Chris Joseph on Sports Bites. Let's dig in.
What's up, everybody? It is time to dig in to Big 12 Bites. I'm your host, Chris Joseph. Appreciate you tuning in on this weekly 30-minute bite-sized podcast where I'm going to talk about everything from the Big 12. I've already done SEC, Big 10, ACC, so stay tuned. Every week we're going to do this, keep firing out these little 30-minute, a recap of the previous week and a preview of the next week of that specific conference, their biggest games, and at the end of each episode, I will have my power rankings. That's right, we're going to talk about how the teams are ranked, and it's a little bit different than some of them. You know, I give a lot of credit to wins. I want to see who has the best wins as they move forward. But we're going to go ahead and dive right into it. A lot of Big 12 games from week one. You had some week 0 games, but week 1 Thursday night, a lot of people's favorite, the Utah Utes, Cam Rising back for his 17th season. He comes back. He's clearly the leader. I joke. Cam Rising, 254 yards, 5 touchdowns. They handle Southern Utah very, very easily. Utah looks the part. It's going to be interesting to see what Utah does in the Big 12. There's some teams, it's very top-heavy, I think, in the Big 12, probably the top 4 or 5 teams. It should be interesting to watch how that proceeds. Another team that a lot of people are hoping a lot for, the Kansas Jayhawks, took on Lindenwood. No idea who that is. I had to look them up. Jalen Daniels, 148 yards, 1 touchdown. Neal, 8 carries, 112 yards. Man, Kansas offense is going to be a lot of fun to watch. They beat Lindenwood 48-3. The New Hampshire UCF game, New Hampshire, all these teams in the Northeast coming down to the South and getting a punch in the face from the humidity. Whew, you know they're not liking it. But the UCF Golden Knights go out and win 57-3. KJ Jefferson, not the best of first games. I mean, 164, 2 touchdowns and a pick. We'll see if he gets more comfortable as the season goes on. The one Thursday night that everyone talked about, the Colorado Buffaloes. I got to watch a lot of that game while I was in the press box for the UAB Alcorn State game. And Shedeur Sanders, he's a really good quarterback. I don't know if he's the best quarterback in the draft. It would be interesting to see going up to the NFL, him actually having a quality offensive line, what his production could be. But Colorado had to fight, claw, nail, scratch to beat North Dakota State. The Bison go down 31-26. Friday night saw TCU and Stanford. The Horned Frogs trying to bounce back from a terrible season last year. Their quarterback Hoover went for 353, 2 touchdowns as they beat Stanford 34-27. Now Saturday came and there was a lot of hope for West Virginia. Penn State came in to Millen-Pusker Stadium and Drew Aller played well. I'm still going to hold reserve on my judgment of Penn State. I don't know yet. We'll wait to see. But West Virginia had some opportunities early before a rain delay, and then just wasn't the same team when they came back out. So it'll be interesting to see West Virginia moving forward, how well they perform. Oklahoma State, another one of those teams, they're ranked in the top 25. A lot of people think they're going to be the team that challenges Utah. Ollie Gordon is one of the best running backs in the country, if not the best all-around running back. 28 carries, 126 yards, 3 touchdowns. South Dakota State did score some points. They scored 20. It was kind of back and forth. It was 17-6 at half. And South Dakota State, of course, one of the best FCS teams out there. Just not enough offensive firepower for the Jackrabbits. Big one for Oklahoma State this weekend at Boone Pickens. We'll talk about that as well. Kansas State, another team. Avery Johnson, he's the savior, man. He's got the flowing hair. He's got the attitude. Giddens at running back, 124 yards. Kansas State took down UT Martin 41-6. Kansas State has a big game this week. We'll talk about that as well in the preview section. And then you got to get used to Big 12 action after dark. Arizona and New Mexico. Noah Fafita, 422 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And, of course, who did he go to? Tetsuya McMillan, the 6'5", 215-pound Hawaiian receiver, went off, setting records, 10 receptions, 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. Whoo! Now, New Mexico scored 39 points. It was 61-39, so they got to bring that defense back or it's just going to be highlight reel games in the Big 12, kind of like, was it West Virginia and Baylor that had a game where they were both in the 70s, like Oklahoma and Texas Tech when Baker Mayfield and Patrick Mahomes went head-to-head? You might see a lot of those kind of games for Arizona this year. Cincinnati, predicted to be one of the worst teams in the Big 12. They beat Towson State 38-20. Iowa State, the Cyclones, Rocco Beck at quarterback, 267 yards, 2 touchdowns. They take down North Dakota, not North Dakota State, but North Dakota, 21-3. Not kind of the game you'd like to see from Iowa State, especially heading into this week. Big rivalry game. We'll talk about that on the other side. The Baylor Bears have kind of just fallen off the face of the earth with where they were and what they were last year. They beat Tarleton State 45-3. And I'll be interested to see what Baylor does this weekend. We'll talk. They play Utah. Big game for both teams, and we'll see. Houston Cougars, terrible. They got roughed up by UNLV. UNLV did whatever they wanted to do against Houston, both offensively and defensively. And so it's, now I tell you, UNLV had a pick 6 from Jalen Catalon. You know that name. He was at Texas. He's been at big schools. He's now a safety for the UNLV running Rebels. And the sad thing is there's a lot of people in Las Vegas that have no idea that there's a football team out there. But Houston loses. Doesn't get any easier for the Cougars. They come to Norman this week to take on Oklahoma. That game going to be on the SEC network. Here locally from Birmingham, my man Cole Kublik is going to be on the sidelines there. Texas Tech, what happened, guys? I kept hearing all offseason the Big 12 runs through Lubbock. Well, Abilene Christian ran through Lubbock. Their quarterback threw for 506 yards and 3 touchdowns. 506 yards. Abilene Christian. And if it wasn't for a stupid play in overtime, should have won the game. Texas Tech escapes with a 52-51 victory over Abilene Christian and does not give Tech fans the warm fuzzies after seeing that kind of outburst. BYU, the Cougs, taking on the Salukis from Southern Illinois at LaVell Edwards Stadium, one of the most picturesque stadiums in all of college football. Cougars play well. They win 41-13. Retzlaff, quarterback from last year, he's back, 348 yards, 3 touchdowns. Cougars move on. Again, another Big 12 after dark, Arizona State and Wyoming. A lot of yellow on the field. Arizona State is victorious, 48-7. So, some really good things to take away from the first weekend for the Big 12, right? I think, there's some really good teams. It'll be interesting to see how many teams at the end of the year, with how the scheduling goes, will the Big 12 have in spot in line for a playoff berth? Are they going to be a 1-bid team? Can they be a 2-bid team? Especially with Oklahoma State, if they lose this weekend, how it happens, they make it to the Big 12 championship. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what the Big 12 and what the perception of the Big 12 is. And yes, Oklahoma and Texas left, but I think the competition all around got better. With the teams adding, people can say what they want. Colorado, Oklahoma State, that's going to be entertaining. Mike Gundy and Prime, those press conferences, please and thank you. We're going to take a quick time out from one of our love sponsors, Olipop. When we come back, we're going to look ahead at the week to come here in the Big 12. You're listening to Big 12 Bites on the Dog Network.
Share an Olipop, make a friend. Olipop, high fiber, less sugar.
man, that Olipop is good stuff. As a diabetic person, I've talked about it before. Soda is one of the things I miss. I was a huge Dr. Pepper fan. Probably why I got diabetes, because I drank a lot of Dr. Pepper. But Olipop, good fiber, less sugar, and like I mentioned before, the grape, it is surprisingly good. I bought a can for my wife and myself, and we popped the top, took it, and it was the best grape carbonated drink ever. Grape Pico, knee high. It did no. No. This Olipop grape is like a really great Concord grape flavor. I love it. So if you're interested in trying Olipop, we have a special code that you can use. It's Doggy Pop. 15% off, DAWGGYPOP. Go in there. You can order olipop.com and put in that 15% discount code, Doggy Pop. Try some. There's some really good flavors. Watermelon lime is good. People like the orange squeeze because they can make kind of like a dreamsicle drink with it. So try some Olipop, all right? I know people are like, I don't want to try a healthy soda. Shut up. Get over it. You know, try some new things. Quit eating your Dino Nuggies and your mac and cheese. You're going to be all right. I'm kidding. Everybody likes what they like, and that's okay. This will probably air on Friday night, so looking ahead to the preview. Friday night, BYU at SMU. Preston Stone, SMU is 2-0, but are they happy with where they sit? SMU favored by 11.5, the total of 55.5. I would definitely take the over of 55.5. 11.5 points, that's a lot, but I think, you got to think that SMU and that high-powered offense is going to get it going. I would probably take SMU minus the 11.5. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, that's an 11 a.m. kickoff. That's going to be on ESPN2. Cincinnati favored by 2.5. Man, give me Pittsburgh, right? Give me Pittsburgh minus the 2.5, a total of 62.5. I'd probably go under. In that. I'm interested to see how Cincinnati responds this year. You can get tickets for as low as $22. That's crazy. 2:30 kickoff, Fox Sports, Utah and Baylor. The Utes, in their first official Big 12 conference game, take on the Baylor Bears. Utah by 14.5 is the spread, a total of 55. So you're thinking about the over. I like the over in that, the 55.5. I think that, Utah is going to score some points, and Baylor always finds a way in the end zone. I would probably take Baylor and the 14.5 points, plus 14.5. It's a lot of points. I know it's at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Cam is back, everything. I get it, but it's a lot of points. A lot of points. Albany and West Virginia, I think, West Virginia really does a good job. Pummels them here, Millen-Pusker Stadium. They're going to sing "Take Me Home, Country Roads," and really enjoy an easy victory over Albany. 5:30 on ESPN Plus. Sam Houston, the Bearcats, a very good football team, taking on UCF. Now the spread is UCF 21.5, a total of 56.5. I like the over. And I like UCF, I like Sam Houston getting the 21.5 points. I would take 21.5 points in that game in a heartbeat. Kansas Jayhawks travel to Champaign at Memorial Stadium to take on the Fighting Illini, or they're just the Illini now. Jayhawks favored by 4.5. 4.5 with a total of 57.5. Man, give me the over and give me Kansas minus the 4.5. I think they win that game. Luke Altmaier hasn't shown me really anything. I like what Kansas is bringing to the table. Talked about Houston and Oklahoma. Oklahoma 28-point favorite. Total of 49.5. I would take the over. I think Oklahoma can get that on their own. They're really going to focus on the running game this week. Houston struggled mightily. Offensive line protection was terrible. Defense was terrible. UNLV ran for almost 200 yards on them. I would take Oklahoma minus the 28 and the over 49.5. Basically a loan to Oklahoma on that one. TCU and, hey, guys, I talk about the Golden Boot podcast all the time, right? And if you saw, they had Coach Cooper on from Long Island University, the head coach. He used to be on the staff at LSU, talking about how the Honey Badger got his name. Well, Long Island, They head over to Fort Worth, Texas, to Amon G. Carter Stadium, take on the Horned Frogs, and I think TCU wins that one pretty easily. Arizona will play Northern Arizona. You can get tickets for that game for $5. $5 against the Lumberjacks of Northern Arizona. Arizona favored by 35.5, a total of 61.5. I'd take the over. I think Arizona could probably score that on their own, but plus they'll probably give up some points. And I would take Arizona minus a 35.5. I mean, it's a lot of points, but I think they're just going to spin it all over Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks. Arizona State, Mississippi State. I'm really intrigued about this matchup because being an SEC person now, trying to figure out how good is Mississippi State going to be against Blake, with Blake Shapen at quarterback, Jeff Lebby there as the head coach, Arizona State. That game is in Tempe at Mountain American Stadium. Spread is Arizona State by 5.5, a total of 50. I would take the over, and I would take Mississippi State plus the points. I think Mississippi State wins. I think they're going to be a surprise team in the ACC. Now, they're saying the AccuWeather check at kickoff, 103 degrees. Ugh, that's horrible. Horrible. Man, big games in the Big 12 this weekend, though. A lot of talk about Kansas State traveling to Yulman Stadium in New Orleans to take on the Tulane Green Wave. It says on the little app where you're looking, it shows tickets. Tickets as low as $2. $2? Tulane was just beating USC in the Cotton Bowl. Kansas State's predicted to make it to the college football playoffs. I almost thought about driving. It's 4.5 hours away from me. But Kansas State against Tulane. I still think Kansas State has too many athletes. Now, again, it's going to be a lot more intimate setting at Yulman Stadium than it is in bigger places like that. But I think Kansas State is just a better team. Kansas State favored by 8.5, a total of 47.5. I would probably take the under in that. I think both teams are going to play really good defense. And I would take Tulane plus 8.5. I think it's going to be close, but I think Kansas State wins. So I would take Tulane plus 8.5. The other game, the battle for Cyhawk at Kinnick Stadium, Iowa against Iowa State. Iowa favored by 3, a total of 35.5. I joke, but I think the under, you're probably safe on the under. I just don't see a lot of points being scored in that game. And watch them go out and both score 40. I'm not real sold on Rocco Beck. I know a lot of people are. Iowa wins that game. I would go Iowa minus the 3 points. I think they win that game even closer. Another big game, 6:30, ESP or NBC Peacock, right? What used to be one of the best rivalries in the Big 8 and the Big 12. The Colorado Buffaloes travel up to Lincoln, Nebraska to take on Matt Rule and Dylan Raiola. Shedeur Sanders, Raiola, there's going to be some fireworks in this game. It says a total of 55.5. Give me the over all day. Give me the over all day. Nebraska favored by 6.5. It's really close. And I would take Colorado getting the 6.5 points here. I would. I think Shedeur Sanders is that good. Travis Hunter. I wish he would pick one position to play. And again, maybe I'm just jealous because I couldn't do like that, but he's phenomenal at both. Think how good he'd be if he focused on one. Man, we'll see. That game's going to be a lot of fun. Probably the biggest game, I think, in the Big 12 this weekend, Arkansas and Oklahoma State. Game is at Boone Pickens Stadium. Oklahoma State favored by 10, a total of 61.5. I'd take the over in that one because I think Arkansas with Taylor Green, they'll be able to score some points. And obviously, Bowman at quarterback for Oklahoma State, really good. Ollie Gordon, really good. You'll see former Sooner Gavin Freeman on that receiving core. What can they do? Tickets still available for that, right around $100. AccuWeather in Oklahoma, kickoff at 11 a.m. will be about 75 degrees, which that's for September is great for Oklahoma. Let me tell you that, how great that is, that the weather is really kind of favored football fans out there. Oklahoma State favored by 10, total of 61.5. I would take the over, and I think it's close. I think I would take Arkansas plus the 10, if not just to win outright. That game, and it's not far. Fayetteville to Stillwater, is not that far. I think, Fayetteville to Tulsa is probably 90 minutes. And then another 90 minutes or another 74 miles. I think it's 74 miles from Tulsa to Stillwater. Go up there, get you some Eskimo Joe's cheese fries, a black and foul thing, one of the best chicken sandwiches I've ever had in my life, and the fries are worth it. They are famously known for their cheese fries. Go to Eskimo Joe's. You got to get everybody in Oklahoma, even if you're a Sooner fan, everybody in Oklahoma had the Eskimo Joe's cups. And if you were a young single person living on your own, you had a whole cupboard of them because you went and you just collected them. You had the Eskimo Joe's cups. You see the shirts everywhere. Really good. But that's a good slate of games. Oh, and the Mike Leach Bowl. Let's not forget the Mike Leach Bowl up in Pullman, Washington, the Palouse. Texas Tech and Washington State. The Mike Leach Bowl. I think they said they're gonna honor Mike Leach up there at Gisa Field. 76 degrees at the kickoff. And Texas Tech has got to do something. Gave up 51 points to Abilene Christian. Washington, it's off now. A total of 66.5. Give me the over. Give me the over 66.5 in that ball game. All day. All day I'd take that over as you really look into it. All right, guys. It is now time for my Big 12 power rankings. Bum, ba, da, bum.
Look, kids, there's Big Ben and there's Parliament.
Big Ben, Parliament. All right, power rankings for the Big 12. Number 16, Houston. Just not a good football team. I mean, gone are the days of, Tom Herman and 10, 11 wins. Really kind of struggled under Dana Holgerson. And let's not forget they didn't do too well under Major Applewhite either. All right. Texas Tech comes in at 15. Yes, they won a game, but you should have lost that game to Abilene Christian. BYU at 14. The Cougars, they're just kind of in that mid-level, I think. Cincinnati, you got a victory, so I have you at 13. My eye is on Cincinnati. Watch them fluctuate up and down. I think mainly they're going down this year. Arizona State Sun Devils, number 12, they're 1-0. Baylor at 11. West Virginia at 10. And, there was a lot of people that thought West Virginia could make it to the playoffs, to the Big 12, and they still do. I mean, they didn't lose a conference game. They can still win the whole conference and go out there. But Coach Brown got to get more consistent performance from the players. Colorado Buffaloes at 9. Again, a team that, for some reason, everybody in the world wants to see fail. But Colorado State, they're, I'll figure out not who they are, but a lot more about that team after this game against Nebraska. That's going to be a fantastic matchup. I think, Shedeur Sanders, them are like they've done the last 2 years. Everything is an attack on them, so they're wearing it on their sleeve, like you disrespected my dad. Let's just go play football, guys. And Lincoln, as a Sooner fan, Lincoln is one of those places that it's better for college football when a team like Nebraska is good. Some of the best fans in the country. I remember the last time I went and saw them play was in a Big 12 championship, Oklahoma and Nebraska. I saw them in Kansas City. I was watching the NFL game at the Chiefs and thinking about how cold I was at that particular game. But Colorado, they have a chance to be really good, or they have a chance to be really bad. That's why I got them at 9 right now, struggling against North Dakota State. Number 8, TCU. Number 7, Iowa State. And Iowa State, you got a chance. Can Coach Campbell get the most out of Rocco Beck this week? It's a rivalry game. I think Iowa's won 8 of the last 10. So, I don't know. I don't see any guys like Breece Hall, Charlie Kohler, Brock Purdy. They don't have them right now at Iowa State. So, I like Iowa in that game. Central Florida, KJ Jefferson could be really, really good. I want to see him get his legs underneath him in that offense. Noah Fafita and the Wildcats come in. Again, it's going to be video game numbers, that offense. I love the fight. I love the grit of Fafita. He's one of those guys that, they're talking about Olympics having flag football. I'd like to see Noah Fafita as a flag football quarterback for the Olympics. Now, again, he's got a chance to play football at another level. We'll see. Kansas Jayhawks at number 4. Again, they travel to take on the Illini. It's a Big Ten opponent, a lot different than Lindenwood. but I think Kansas is just that much better than Illinois. If I can remember correctly, they routed the Illini last year in Lawrence. I think one of the first plays was like a little swing pass, and the Kansas player, I think it was Kobe Bryant, or Kobe Jackson, I think. I'm probably getting his name wrong, so I apologize, Kansas fans. But hits the receiver, fumble, scoop, score. I mean, and it went to 14-0 like that, but in a blink of an eye. Kansas State, big matchup. I'm very intrigued about Kansas State versus Tulane. That's a big game. It's a big game, especially, Tulane, they're going to get beat up. They got Kansas State, and they got Oklahoma. Got some big teams. But Kansas State, I think they go down there, win that game. Oklahoma State, Arkansas, that's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Sam Pittman might have him a cold beer afterwards. Whether they win or lose, he's going to have him a cold beer and kind of break this one down. But in the game, I like Oklahoma State winning, but close. I would take Arkansas plus the 10 points. And the Utah Utes, they're number one right now. Their first Big 12 official game against Baylor. I like Utah in that game. So a recap of my power rankings: number 16, Houston. Number 15, Texas Tech. 14, BYU. 13, Cincinnati. Number 12, Arizona State. Number 11, the Baylor Bears. Number 10, West Virginia. Number 9, Coach Prime in Colorado. Number 8, TCU. Number 7, the Iowa State Cyclones. Number 6, UCF. Number 5, the Arizona Wildcats. Number 4, Kansas Jayhawks. Number 3, Kansas State. Number 2, Okie State. And number 1, Utah. That is my power ranking for the Big 12. Be sure you tune in next week. I'll have the updated. We'll have who's rising, who's falling, and we'll see what happens. But enjoy your football weekend. Come back on Monday live for my reaction show. I will be on Monday, YouTube Live at Sports Bites Podcast. You can come by, chat, interact, let me know what you think about my predictions. Because I got a live tonight. I'm going to have my give them a sixer, pick sixes. All right, 6 games I'm going to pick against the spread or the over. Probably against the spread. I'm going to stick with the spread on those. But come by on Monday. Come by tonight, Friday night. I'd say this is recording. But come by Friday night, 7 o'clock. I'm going to be doing a preview show. Also Monday, recap Monday, reaction Monday. Come by the live. Hop in the chats. If you're watching the little video, you see down here all the social media, X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm all over at Sports Bites. Look for Sports Bites, BYTES. And you'll find me there, guys. I appreciate you tuning in to this new endeavor of mine. I hope you guys have a great football weekend. And remember to always positively move forward, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks for joining us on this delicious journey through the world of sports and food on Sports Bites. With your host, Chris Joseph. We hope you've enjoyed the game day stories and culinary adventures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you've got any mouth-watering sports-related tales or favorite game day recipes, share them with us on social media. Until next time, remember, it's not just about the game. It's about the bites that make it unforgettable. Stay hungry for more Sports Bites.